evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the world of V-Gaming Junkie News. The Dross said Bloody Mary one too many times in the mirror, so there's nothing but pure gaming-related meatiness. It is all about the electronic good stuff as we dive deep in all that's new in the various interactive virtual worlds. And so EA attempts to defend the practice of loot boxes, again. Which is essentially the same as wolves defending the practice of mauling. Obviously they're going to defend it when they benefit so heavily off of it. The Chief Experience Officer, Chris Bruzzo, argues that 90% of FIFA 22 players didn't spend money on loot boxes. Because that definitely justifies the practice of having an option to pay for loot boxes in a fully priced game, alright. If this was a free phone game, maybe he'd have some kind of an argument, but this is a game you already had to pay $60 to buy new. Apparently for FIFA 21, the number was 78% that didn't spend, meaning 22% actually did. The real problem is that this is never a case of it just being extra. The games are always tweaked to feel extra grindy and soul-crushing the normal way, so it affects the way the games are actually designed. It's manipulative, and if the game can't feel fun without you spending extra, it isn't worth buying, let alone playing. Just not buying loot boxes isn't good enough, because enough will buy into it to be worth the cost. You have to not support these games, period, if you want anything to change. Until then, EA will continue clumsily defending a practice that shouldn't be capable of defending, and other game companies will be following suit. And so League of Legends will be solving its chat problems by disabling chat altogether. Well, okay, that's a bit hyperbolic. You can still talk to your teammates, but it'll be disabling chat for match-made queues. Because that's the answer to people using the chat to say hurtful things. Just don't allow people to talk at all, that'll surely help. Look, when you get down to it, jerks are just going to be jerks, and slicing everyone's tongues off isn't going to change that. They could have just given you the option to mute the global chat instead of just disabling it for everyone, but that would have actually made sense. We have to protect you from yourself, even if you didn't actually ask for this. Giving players more choices is never a bad thing. Stripping their choice away because some might abuse it is a horrible solution. If you're worried about people abusing something in your game, then just shut the game off completely because someone just might hurt someone's feelings by beating them in a match. And so Kotaku and Screenrant are accused of promoting piracy with Metroid Dread. Well, this is just speculation, of course. Both news sites have made articles talking about emulation with Metroid Dread to get it into 4K and even some basic instructions on how to do it. Some, such as Nerdbot, believe that they're attempting to sabotage Metroid Dread sales by promoting the use of emulation to sidestep buying the game. While this isn't necessarily their motive, I can see how some might see it like that. At the very least, it could very easily entice someone to scour the webs for the rip after being essentially told how to emulate it and how easy it is. There's a solution, of course, just buy the game and then rip the contents yourself. That way you can enjoy it in 4K and still support future Metroid games. Thankfully, Dread doesn't seem to have any problems so far selling like hotcakes. Here's hoping Samus Aran can be around for many games to come, even if Metroid will never be the golden child that Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda are. And speaking of Metroid Dread, there's apparently a serious bug that causes the game to crash. Apparently in late game, trying to open a certain door with a marker on it will cause the game to shut off. Thankfully, you can just remove the map marker, and Nintendo is going to be coming out with a fix. In the meantime, just keep that in mind if you're playing the game and shooting a door causes the game to shut off. As long as you know how to resolve it, it doesn't need to close the door on you getting through the game. And so apparently Marcus Leto is making a new development studio. If you don't know who that is, don't worry, he's just some unknown nobody. I mean really, his only real contribution to gaming is being the co-creator of freaking Halo. Seriously though, this guy is kind of a big deal and he's apparently making a new FPS with his game studio. It's going to be owned by EA though, so time will only tell how long until they drain the studio into a husk with corporate greed and then proceed to kill it off. All joking aside, let's see how this FPS game turns out. As the guy who helped make the original Halo in addition to 2 and 3, he knows his FPSs so it has potential. If EA can give him enough room to breathe, it'll probably turn out just fine. And speaking of massive corporations owning smaller companies, Microsoft's Phil Spencer pledges continued buying of game studios. Specifically, Spencer said there's no quota for acquired studios and they'll be looking for ones that are, quote, a good fit. Given their pretty recent acquisition of the juggernaut ZeniMax and Bethesda and id Software as a result, time will certainly tell what game companies they go after next. Back in 2004, Bill Gates expressed an interest in buying Nintendo, even though I seriously doubt Nintendo is going on sale anytime soon, so anything is possible. And so Bethesda officially removed the Windows Live requirement for Fallout 3. Way to go, Bethesda! Welcome to the year 2009 when a mod released that did just that. This is a silly news story, and you could easily insert jokes about how it took Bethesda over 12 years to fix a major issue modders already solved. Maybe, God willing, this latest version of Skyrim might actually fix a few bugs that have existed since the original that modders fixed literally months after release. I hope for their sake they put more effort into smoothing things out for their new iteration of the creation engine unless they want the next Elder Scrolls and Starfield to be flops. Okay, I'll get off the Todd Howard hate train, or at least I will when the train quits clipping through the ground. Seriously though, big ups to Bethesda for fixing one of their bugs, only about 1 million more to go. And so the Elden Ring has been delayed for as long as it'll take a small hobbit boy to throw the ring into the mouth of an active volcano. So it might just take a while. All joking aside, it's been delayed by around a month, February 25th instead of January 21st. This isn't too bad of a delay, and hopefully they're using the extra time to help polish things up. To quote From Software, the depth and strategic freedom of the game exceeded initial expectations. I assume that means the game might have some bugs or something with certain player choices that they didn't account for. In the meantime, though, you can sign up for the closed network test to try the game out in November, for PlayStation and Xbox owners. Being primarily a PC guy, this leaves me out, but oh well, can't win them all. I hope whoever tries the game out enjoys it, and I'll probably play the game eventually. Here's hoping it lives up to Soulsborne, or at least Dark Souls 3, which is the only one I've actually played so far. Finally, Steam uses their verified checkmark system to promote the Steam Deck. What I mean is, if it's a game on Steam that runs well enough on the deck, it'll have an icon that's green with a checkmark. Playable will be yellow with an I, while unsupported is a crossout and unknown is a question mark. Obviously, the idea is that deck users will be able to tell which of their favorite games will run adequately enough on the system. Almost reminds me of compatibility lists with emulators. Might also help incentivize developers to make sure their game plays well with the deck to reach a broader audience. Valve might even favor promotion of such games given they're trying to actually promote sales for the deck. Either way, you better get used to seeing those little icons on Steam games going forward. And as always, from the page of Games Radar, it's time for the latest batch of release dates fresh out of the oven. The 22nd has the Dark Pictures Anthology House of Ashes for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, Jumanji the Video Game Enhanced Edition for PS5, and Mega Monster Party for PC. The 26th starts out with LOL Surprise Movie Night for Switch and Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy for all major platforms, new and old. Following up is The Unliving for PC and Workshop Simulator for PC. The 27th just has Pumpkin Jack New Gen Edition for the two newbies. The 28th starts with Age of Empires 4 for PC, Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater for the current band of 4, and Plan B from Outer Space, A Bavarian Odyssey for PC and phones. Following up is Riders Republic for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox and Stadia, as well as Voice of Cards The Isle Dragon Roars for Switch. The 29th just has Mario Party Superstars for Switch. The 2nd of November has Giants Uprising for PC and World War Z for Switch. The 3rd has Time Loader for PC, and the 4th has Just Dance 2022 for all consoles new and last gen and Stadia, as well as Space Lines from the Far Out for PC and X1. This week's epic freebie until next Thursday is Among the Sleep Enhanced Edition. It's a better version of the classic exploratory horror game where you're a toddler navigating a world of nightmares. And as always, that rounds out this news week. I hope you enjoyed and were well enough informed. As always, I Let's Play every single day, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m, live stream Mondays and Fridays unless otherwise specified at 4:30 p.m, and I swap between game reviews and game news videos Sundays at 6 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time, and you can always subscribe and powerbomb, melee, counter, screw attack, pound that bell icon if you don't want to worry about keeping track of time zones. A like is always appreciated for the algorithms, but I just hope you genuinely enjoyed it, and that is it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Spread this video around like Emmy's relentless pursuit, and I'll see you next time. Capitalize on life, peace out, have a good one, and I'll see you next week.